hold on one second. We about to get to the bottom of this, ladies and gentlemen. This don't make no sense whatsoever. Welcome to the Dark Waters channel, where we explore mysteries, figure out the truth, dive into politics, and anything else you want to know about. That's what we doing over here, baby. Let's go.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only James Williams, Dark Waters. You'll notice that this video blends into another one. And I'm putting this up front because the video that I recorded prior to this touched on a couple of things in the news, and then some things started to break that I felt like we needed to address. First of all, we got Zelensky coming out saying that he's rejecting the peace deal, while simultaneously someone, somewhere, has decided that they were going to blow up the limousine of Vladimir Putin. And if you recall, it was maybe Wednesday of this week that Zelensky came out and said that Putin would be dead soon. Now, this entire time they've had this war, it has not gotten to the point to where, if I'm not mistaken, maybe one Russian general was targeted in a war. But now they've targeted the head of Russia. And I'm sad to say this, but I don't think there's going to be any peace deal. And it's clear that Zelensky doesn't have the ability to do this himself. So it had to be either France or the UK. Most likely it was the MI6 would be the UK who just targeted Vladimir Putin. This is an existential crisis that is going on in the world. This is the potential for World War III. And I'll make a prediction. Since Zelensky is talking trash and they just targeted Putin, we're about to see some serious fireworks. I don't think Zelensky truly understood that Putin could have just walked through and wiped him out. I think he's an arrogant jackass that thinks that he can be protected. And there's no protecting him from Russia. You know what I'm saying? And it just goes to show that Zelensky is not interested in peace. And for those people who, for example, run around with Ukrainian flags on the front of their house, understand that you're supporting World War III, the start of World War III. Point blank, period. And Zelensky gonna get it. I can tell you now, with all confidence, Zelensky has to get it. Because if, for some reason, Vladimir Putin was in that vehicle when the limousine blew up, and if Vladimir Putin died, bro, that's all-out war against everybody and their mama. And so they just proved the point that they're willing to push it to that point, go that far. So Zelensky can fully expect probably to have a rocket landing on his damn house. You know what I'm saying? Because he's the mouthpiece of the proxy army. So Zelensky's got to die now, guys. I mean, it's just, he's got to go. If I was Trump, what I would do is I would come out and say, hey, Zelensky don't want no peace, and we turning off every asset that we gave him. We're not giving them no more bullets. We're not doing nothing for Ukraine. And as far as Great Britain and France, we ain't giving you a damn thing either. And we ain't sending our troops. And I will pull my troops out of Europe and bring them all home. And come back and worry about my nation. And then I would say, now, if you need weapons, we'll sell them to you, yes. But I'm not giving you a damn thing. And then, with that being done, Russia would run through Ukraine and run his ass right up into their territory and smack the piss out of them. The only reason why Russia has not smacked the dog crap out of all of them is because of America. And so we're getting close, ladies and gentlemen, to there being some serious issues. But let's see what Zelensky has to say.
Мені здається, що українці, в принципі, дуже добре мене знають вже, щоб, я думаю, що сумніватись не потрібно. А якщо будуть якісь ті чи інші ризикові речі для нас, то, безумовно, я буду все це комунікувати без будь-яких секретів з нашим суспільством. В принципі, я вважаю, що головні базисні речі компромісні були окреслені в рамковій угоді, на що ми готові були йти. І тому базуватись будемо на зрозумілих речах, про що ми говорили, там, де ми бачимо можливість побудувати правильні партнерські відносини. Якщо питання боргів, тощо, я це говорив, я не знаю, як всі, я чесно не знаю, але якщо піднімається там це питання, так, ми не будемо сприймати борги, як я і казав, це для мене там зрозумілі абсолютно речі, я їх не бачу. Принаймні ми говоримо про минуле. Якщо, знов-таки я повторюсь, якщо буде матись на увазі якісь перспективи, нова підтримка, нові пакети підтримки, і тоді Сполучені Штати Америки, напевне, можуть ставити ті чи інші умови, розуміючи, що безкоштовно ця команда нам нічого робити не буде. Це вони офіційно говорять.
This dude is dumb. So basically, he just said that anything that he does not owe America any debt, and that he does not acknowledge any debt being owed to America for what was done in the war and what was given. And if there was a new agreement moving forward, then yeah, he would acknowledge the debt. But here's the problem that Zelensky has. There was a limited ceasefire, and he hasn't abided by the limited ceasefire. Point blank, period, right? And now you said that you wanted to do a deal for the minerals, and you haven't, still to this day, you haven't signed the deal for the minerals. The way I see it is this: screw Zelensky, screw the Ukraine. I'm sorry, it's none of our damn business. It never was, it never will be. That's not our side of the planet. The Ukraine is a place where they smuggle money and launder money and do everything else, and that's why people want to protect it. And this is where, unfortunately, the Trump administration's clean hands policy just doesn't really work out well. You know, in other administrations, they would use a false flag to take attention off of Zelensky and bring attention back home. But we have a clean hands policy. In other administrations, they would use crisis actors and all the rest of this stuff to create events that would allow the American people to turn their hearts against Zelensky. Now, we've already had enough things that where America should have turned their heart against Zelensky, considering the second assassination attempt on Donald Trump that was done at the golf course was done by a person who I would just say was a Ukrainian operative. We know that he served in the military in the Ukraine, went to the front lines to fight. He had to be some type of CIA asset that was in line or in league with the Ukraine. When you read the articles, I forgot the guy's name, you don't just go to Ukraine to fight. You don't just say, hey, I'm going to pack up all my bags and go to Ukraine to fight. I'm not going to go open my closet, open my gun safe, and get my AR and grab a bunch of ammo, grab a vest, and then get on a plane and go to Ukraine to go fight. That's not how that works. So, unfortunately, this is where the economic power, using economic power, has its limitations. Sanctions have limitations. You know what I'm saying? Embargoes have limitations. This is not something that can be handled by those means. This is something that needs to be handled by other means. This is why you have a CIA. And this is when the CIA should be used. Let me go to Putin's limo. go with Jack Posobiec.
Breaking news, and I just saw this. I saw it on Midnight Rider. I got to give credit to the great Carly Bonet, and then went around and was clicking on GB News, etc. Apparently, in Moscow right now, and again, this just happened, so fog of war, all the caveats, that Vladimir Putin's limo, one of the limos in his motorcade, has blown up in a massive explosion as a car is engulfed in a huge fireball on the street in Moscow. Now, it doesn't indicate that he was in it at the time, but it seems to be, if true, that this was an attempted assassination of Vladimir Putin. Breaking news, and, All
right, so let's think through this. Let's put our hat on and say we're Russia. And let's play, pro and con for Russia. So clearly there was one of his limo motorcades being blown up. There'll be an argument, which we're seeing here on Twitter right here, where it says, wasn't Zelensky talking about Putin was going to die? Here's a leftist. DD Geopolitics. This is not Putin's limo. Stop spreading fake news. According to Shot, the Aura Center caught fire in central Moscow today. The fire began in the engine room compartment of the street. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah. I don't see no fire on the street. I see a freaking limo on fire. So we're not going to go with that. You see any fires I don't see a fire anywhere. I don't see a building on fire. I don't see anything. That's a vehicle that blew up. All right, so let's start with this. Footage shows that the Aurora limousine from Putin's official fleet blew up in a huge blast just north of Moscow FSB Secret Service headquarters. All right, the footage shows the fires, which started in the engine, spread to the interior of the vehicle. Where workers nearby restaurant and bars had poured into the streets to try and help. All right, so let's read this. This is not, according to the Shot, an Aurora Senate caught in fire in Moscow today. The fire began, blah, 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 blah. So, yeah. All right. So, that's a lying leftist. The point we're going to make is this. If it's a fleet of vehicles that's associated with the American president, the president of America, I believe there are two beasts, right? So let's say the decoy beast blows up. That is considered an assassination attempt on a president. If it's a vehicle where the president or vice president has a possibility of riding in, that is an assassination attempt, right? Now, this says the vehicle belonged to the Kremlin's Presidential Property Management Department. I don't know what the hell that means. All I can tell you is, if it belongs to the president of Russia, you can call it whatever fucking department you want, and it blows up, that's an assassination attempt on a government official and can be credited as an assassination attempt on Vladimir Putin himself. Now, here's the bad thing about this. Remember, America has no problem with getting its hands dirty. I mean, America has a problem with getting its hands dirty, but MI6 and France and Russia don't have a problem with getting their hands dirty. They don't have a problem with false flags and playing mind games. So someone may say that, hey, this came from MI6, which I believe it did, but this could be Russia itself blowing this up. Said, okay, you tried to assassinate me, now we're going to kill Zelensky. You blew up our car, Zelensky's car blows up. Because the truth of the matter is, if Zelensky is gone, all this goes away. I mean, it truly does. It could be one of Zelensky's generals that decided he was going to escalate this to get Zelensky's head knocked off. It could be a number of things, ladies and gentlemen. What I will say to you is this. Over the next 48 hours, we're gonna see some sports. We're gonna see some sports. We're gonna see something. This is gonna play itself out. But you combine the fact then that Zelensky came out and said that Putin wasn't gonna be alive much in 6 days. I mean, I think he gave an exact date. You combine that with Zelensky rejecting the peace plan And then it's flat out. There's no way to, in my opinion, there's no way to come to a peace deal. You sit there and just play games and talk about, yeah, we're going to have a peace treaty. I just don't see how you come to a peace treaty. I just don't see it. And quite frankly, I don't think Donald Trump has to bring peace to them. I think he has to do everything within his power to bring some peace. But it's really simple. Cut that shit off to him. Not giving you nothing. Pull out of NATO. Not giving you nothing. Now, NATO says that if any, the way to keep us from pulling out is to start a war with Russia. And so that lets us know that Donald Trump is in the process of trying to pull out. And they're doing everything they can do to start a war with Russia, to invoke the article that forces us to go to war. But quite frankly, screw y'all. I'm not about to go to war with Russia just because you decide you don't want, because you want to keep me there. No, I'm going to let Russia punish you. Now, according to those articles, I mean, I'm pretty sure Russia has to say, well, if we go to thermonuclear war with Europe, we're going to might as well hit America because they're all in a treaty. So because of the existing articles, if they can push it far enough to where it becomes thermonuclear, of course, all the rockets going to come our way either way it goes, right? So this is a very dangerous situation that we're dealing with a bunch of stupid, weak men. Keir Starmer and Macron. Weak men. Carney in freaking Canada. But I'll just be honest with you. I don't like the fact that the CIA is not activated. I just don't. I don't like it at all, and I believe that the American CIA needs to be active. And quite frankly, as they have been active at home, they need to continue to be active at home, and they need to be active abroad. Don't think for a moment that they weren't active at home under the Biden administration. They clearly were active. So I just don't understand what's going on with this. It bothers me because I feel like there's games being played, and we're playing. It's kind of like you're in a bare knuckle fight with somebody, and then you put 12-ounce gloves on. But you're in a bare knuckle fight, and you got these boxing gloves. Man, take them damn gloves off, man. I don't understand it. Take the gloves off, man. Let me see if I can find a little more information about Putin. Let's see. Zelensky defies the U.S., emboldened by Euro-globalist Ukrainian leader, again states that he does not recognize U.S. aid as loans, will not sign rework minor mineral rights deal. And I do believe he's emboldened. I mean, because they keep on telling him, yeah, we got your back. We got your back. Donald's going to have to deal with this. He's going to have to deal with it. It seems that Ukrainian leader Vladimir Zelensky has decided on a path that'll send him clashing with U.S. President Donald J. Trump and his administration. Besides repeatedly breaching the Trump-brokered partial ceasefire on energy and infrastructure, Zelensky has now made a TV statement that contains at least two very controversial points. First, he again states that hundreds of billions of dollars in U.S. aid to Kiev regime were not loans, but rather donations, despite the fact that nothing was ever registered as such. Secondly, he alerted that Ukraine will not sign a reworked rare earth mineral exploration deal, although his aides had assured U.S. officials that the deal was ready to be signed. And these two clowns right here are the ones, Starmer and Macron. They're the ones that are emboldening him and making him think that, hey, I don't need America, when they need America. I mean, that's just the honest to God truth. And so, in my opinion, it's time for some regime change. And that's the thing about France and Britain. They think that they're too good for regime change. Yeah. We need a little bit of regime change. Yeah, they need a little pressure on them. We need some regime change. They need some drama in their streets. They need riots on their streets. The same thing that all of them supported as World Economic Forum leaders to come into America. They need a little bit of taste of that. Yeah, they need to get a little taste of it. See, you can't worry about Ukraine when everything is going to hell in your nation. You can't worry about the Ukraine when everything is going to hell. You know what I'm saying? You can't. When everything goes to hell. And this is where I believe where we at right now, man. I'm interested in seeing how Donald reacts to this. I truly am. Again, we very rarely have found ourselves in a situation where someone was outright defying Donald Trump. I mean, rarely have we ever found it. What? We rarely find ourselves in a situation where someone was just straight up like trying to stand against Donald Trump. And the amazing thing is both Keir Starmer and Macron came to America to meet with Donald. It's like, but they're going to use Zelensky as their little proxy to say, yeah, stand up to Donald Trump. He won't do you anything. And it puts Donald on a catch-22. Because if Zelensky can stand up to him and nothing happens, then everybody else can say, well, we can stand up to him too. So he's going to have to make an example out of Zelensky. That's the unfortunate thing. He's going to have to make an example out of Zelensky. One way or the other. It's going to have to hit him. You know what I'm saying? Now, how it's going to hit him, I don't know, but it's going to have to hit him. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'll see y'all in the morning with the next video. My camera got blurry for some reason. I don't know why. Look at that dirt on my hand from lifting those weights. All right, deuces. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? One and only James Williams, Dark Waters, and I'm back. And today we're covering some of the news. My nose just went crazy, and I started sneezing. So if you hear me sniffling like this, it's because I just put some nose spray and some allergy nose spray in my nose to try and stop my nose from going crazy. And I don't think that's going to work, but it is what it is. Gavin Newsom is back in the news. And let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. The Democratic Party is either going to have to ditch the liberalism and the wokeism, or destruction is fully headed their way. And they're already in the process of being destroyed. They're already in the process of what I would call a massive downfall. But it seems as if they can't use an ounce of common sense. I mean, a minuscule amount of common sense would tell you that you have to abandon what they're doing. And so we have Gavin Newsom coming out. There are tons of examples against biological men playing women's sports is wrong on from 18 months ago. Again, there are tons of examples against biological men playing women's sports is wrong. One from 18 months ago. Now, the way he phrased it would confuse you and make you think that he's sitting there saying, yeah, I'm against it. But that ain't what he's saying. Watch this. This is the problem with these people. See, for their constituents, this kind of ignorance works. But for us, we watch and listen to what you say.
I'm mature about this. So what do you...
Right? You're not doing right. I need this in my ears. And I need you to talk louder, Gavin Newsom. Talk. Pause. Stop. I don't buy for a moment, and I'm pretty sure you don't buy, Gavin Newsom swing to the middle to pretend that he's a moderate. We've seen this happen over and over and over again. We saw Stephen A. Smith make the same transition. He did it in probably 60 days. No, he actually did it in 45 days with the help of Chris Cuomo on Newsmax. And so now he's trying to make this transition towards the middle, and it's unbelievable that he thinks that anyone would fall for this. Now, I'm going to tell you what's about to happen to Gavin Newsom. You see, Gavin Newsom and his ilk have made people, they've driven people on the extreme left to the point of violence. And so Gavin is walking a tightrope where he wants to come across like he's a moderate and he has some common sense, but his track record shows that no, you don't have an ounce of damn common sense, Gavin. And so give it about, I say give it about 6 months. No, give it about 3 months, because he's slowly working his way over there. And Gavin is a seasoned politician. He knows not to run too hard, too fast. Give it about 3 months, he'll start sounding a lot like a Republican. And there's going to be a Rubicon line that he crosses. There's going to be a river that he crosses, and they will attack him and decimate him and swallow him whole. He's getting close. Getting close. This is the problem when you feed the extreme left. Now, go ahead, Gavin, try and put yourself like, no, you some bitch is going to get canceled. Because the same people that you weaponized are now turning against you. This is why you do not weaponize the human mind. Knowing that the human mind is malleable, knowing that the human mind can be manipulated. You could have manipulated people a little bit, but you had to manipulate them so far to the extreme by bringing this into classrooms. So you have generations of people who have been brought up with this philosophy and ideology that it is them. Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a question. When someone is confronted with something that attacks their identity, what happens? That's why they call it identity politics. What happens when someone attacks your identity, your self-worth, the thing that you have established as your self-worth? For example, in the black community identifies with skin color primarily over anything, which is why the black community can be triggered more than anybody. They don't identify as Americans. They don't identify as citizens of America. They identify as black people. And so because you identify as a African American, something outside on the fringe of America itself, you can always be triggered. Now let's take that and let's take younger generations of people who are in their, let's say, I don't know, early 20s, mid 30s, and they have identified with this philosophy of wokeism and everything that encapsulates wokeism, right? They have been taught it in school since they were children. You are attacking their identity, their self-worth, their self-value. And what happens when you do that to a person is you kick in the fight or flight response. And so there's no way you're going to work your way out of this. There's no way. And it's actually something that's unredeemable because they were programmed for this moment in time to do this exact thing. If you ever go take a look at the book called Changing Images of Men and read the book, you'll understand that this was a plan that was put in place damn near 50, 60 years ago for us to get to this point where this thing, this issue that we're dealing with right now, wokeism, would be the new religion. And it is a religion. It's a religion just like Islam is a religion, just like Christianity is a religion. It's a religion. And they treat it as such. And so now what you have is high priests of the religion, like Mayor and Gavin Newsom say, oh no, I don't want to represent this cult anymore. And they're like, oh no, we got to kill you. That's why, think about it. Why do you think people are so violent towards Elon Musk? It's because that's a religion that he left of wokeism. He even told you why he left the religion of wokeism, because of what was done to his son. And he said, I decided I was going to destroy the woke mind virus. He declared war on a religion. There's no escaping for these people. Elon, yes. Want to know why? Because Elon is a damn genius and he has significant value that he brings to the table. Bill Maher only brings to the table the ability to talk. Bill Maher only brings the ability to talk to the table. Is he an expert communicator? Yes, absolutely. Will he be able to shake this? No. His rating's going to drop. Everything is going down the pipeline. The minute he meets with Donald Trump, they all will turn on him. There's no doubt about it. Now, if he hangs in there through the persecution, and once he experiences that woke liberal persecution, he naturally will become a conservative. But he got to hang in there. He got to withstand the flaming arrows that they're going to send at him. But you can't dodge the flaming arrows, homie. Ain't none of us dodged them. Nobody going to dodge the arrows of woke people. And here's the crazy thing. We need to own our mistakes. We need to own what's wrong with our party. You can't. Because in order to own what is wrong with your party, excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, you have to abandon everything that you built. In order to own what's wrong with your party, you need to say, oh, we took money from George Soros. In order to own what's wrong with your party, you need to say, well, we funded Black Lives Matter. We funded the Palestinian protests. We funded the anti-immigration protests, and we need to stop it all. You can't do it. So all this is just talk, man. I mean, all of it is just talk. It's disgusting gibberish is what it is. And there's nothing that they're going to do. There's nothing they can do. Now, I think he's welcome to try it, but it ain't going to work. It ain't going to work. And I can tell you right now, as the economy gets better and better and better and better, and things turn around, the people who are in droves switching from Democrat to Republican, I'm talking about in droves. We're talking about February, 300,000 changes in registration. March would probably be another 300,000 to 400,000 changes in registration. The damn egg prices that they were talking about are slamming to lower prices than they've ever been now. When people see this prosperity, they want nothing to do with the Democratic Party. So the Democratic Party must self-destruct. And I don't think it's over. I think what's going to happen is it's going to go fully woke because it's a religion. So the whole party's going to go full woke. And anybody with sense is going to have to abandon that party. And that's going to be this woke socialist party in the United States of America. They're going to have to start in an entire other party in order for things to move forward for the Democrats. There's going to have to be like a breakup of the Democratic Party. And somebody's going to have to become super moderate. And as long as that woke leftist party is there, it's leverage to guarantee that everybody over there is in a losing position. And watch when factories and manufacturing come back to the outskirts of liberal cities. Like Rochester, New York, whose mayor just recently said, oh, I'm going to fire a police officer for helping ICE. Are you crazy? Have you lost your mind? But this is the problem that we face with the Democratic Party. I mean, it's progressively dumb, progressively stupid. Egg prices take sharp plunge as America watch cost trends go downward. Let me make sure this is on the screen. It shouldn't have shifted. Yes, it's there. Watch this. The price of eggs has taken a sharp plunge as Americans have watched the cost of grocery staples shift downward since mid-February. Axios reported Friday. The drop in prices comes as the nation has begun to grapple with the bird flu epidemic that has affected egg prices and farmers, per Breitbart News. According to Axios report, the average wholesale price of a dozen eggs was $3 Friday, down 8% from $3.27 on March 21st, according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture data released Friday. It's down 63% from a record of $8.15 in February in the February 21st report. The article reads, inventories are recovering amid a sudden and large unexplained slowdown in bird flu cases. The Trump administration has also taken steps to boost egg imports to combat higher prices. Earlier this month, Senator Tommy Turnbull, Republican of Alabama, told Breitbart, we have to protect our farmers when speaking about what the bird flu did to egg prices and farmers across the nation. He also mentioned Department of Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins. Again, you're talking to somebody that just hates regulations. But, well, because it's here, because of some unreasonable regulations that allow this to happen, we need to protect the people against this. And then, again, be able to protect for eggs, he said, calling for protections of America's farmers. Let's just keep it real. That price increase was manufactured by the rules and regulations that were put in to combat what was supposed to be the next big thing. That was supposed to be the next big thing that hit the United States of America, and it was supposed to destroy the food supply. If you went back earlier into 2024, they were killing cattle, they were killing chickens, they were killing all kinds of food to cause this increase in food prices, which would have collapsed our economy. And it's no longer happening, so food prices are returning to the places where they should be. And it's a great thing. That is another win for the Donald Trump administration. And I'm going to tell you like this, ladies and gentlemen, it's to the point now where I love the fact that we're winning the way we're winning. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, DOGE, Department of Labor, cancels $577 million in America Last grants, including for gender equity in the Mexican workplace. $577 million, man. And these are grants. Grants. I can't think of anybody with a moniker of common sense that would say, hey, I'm in agreement with $577 million going to this for the Mexican workplace. U.S. Department of Labor canceled $577 million of America Last contracts, including $10 million for gender equity in Mexican workplace. The Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, announced on Wednesday, great work today by USDOL at Secretary LDC, blah, 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 canceling $57 million in America Last grants for $237 million in savings. DOGE announced listing some examples of wasteful grants that were canceled. One of the grants was worth $10 million for what DOGE described as gender equality in Mexican workplaces. Another $12 million was for worker empowerment in South Africa, and $6.2 million was for improving respect for workers' rights in agriculture supply chains in Honduras, Guatemala, and El Salvador. The canceled grants were intended for other countries as well, as including $3 million for safe and inclusive work environments in Lesotho, $3 million to enhance Social Security access and worker protections for internal migrant workers in Bangladesh, $4.3 million for assisting foreign migrant workers in Malaysia, $5 million for elevating women's participation in the workplace in West Africa, per DOGE. Come on, man. Who in their right mind, who in their right mind is going to have a problem with this, with these cuts? And see, the problem that the Democratic Party runs into is if you talk about what's going on, you expose it to your constituents that this is what you've been spending money on. So, but the additional problem is, as you attack Elon Musk and DOGE, you draw attention to Elon Musk and DOGE, and the counter talking point is, hey, this is where your money was going. And all it takes is the average person with a little bit of sense to hear, hey, bruh, did you hear that they was giving $12.2 million for worker empowerment in South Africa? 12.2? That's crazy. And so they find themselves in this catch-22. You want to resist and fight, but the more you resist and fight, the more the truth comes out, which goes back to what I was saying when I was on with Linda B. The truth is the only thing that can destroy the lies that these people have laid before us. And as more and more truth comes out, there is absolutely nothing that they can do. I mean it, there's nothing they can do. I'm going to take a minute to pause right here and remind you guys that gold and silver are God's money. And if you haven't started, it's never too late to get your hands on some gold and silver. Go to darkwatersgold.com, and sign up for, it's a free prospectus. They're going to send it into the mail to your house. They're going to collect your phone information. Somebody's going to reach out and talk to you. You can roll over an IRA. And if you don't have an IRA, ladies and gentlemen, that's fine. I'm going to tell you the most important thing I can tell you to do is start to acquire yourself some gold and silver. Now, gold is going crazy. Gold is already, I think it's above its all-time high at this point in time. It might be $3,065 or in that range. And I think silver, yesterday when I checked, was at $34. And when I looked at the silver chart, silver had no resistance above, I want to say 38 till it got to its all-time high. Silver, if it breaks above this point of resistance, which I want to say the point of resistance is $38, or maybe it's $34, maybe $35. But when it breaks above that ceiling of resistance, there's nothing there to take it all the way up to its all-time high. We're talking about in the high 40s. And then from there, it'll bounce around a little bit and the value will increase. But I'll tell you this, why silver is more important. As we move into the AI age, silver is something that they need for every one of these damn computers. It's going to be the one commodity that you're going to see skyrocket in value. So you need to get your hands on some gold and silver. Go to darkwatersgold.com, darkwatersgold.com. We're in partnership with Genesis Gold Group. And I actually have an interview with the CEO that I'm going to probably be releasing tomorrow, where we talk about this. If you've been following me for a long time, you know that I've been preaching gold and silver, and I've been showing that I've been accumulating gold and silver for quite a while. We're talking about 9 years. And that's since I've been here, I've been talking about it. When I was in radio, having Rich Fit USA Radio, we were selling gold and silver. And so, ladies and gentlemen, this is one of those things I want you to trust me on. Head on over to darkwatersgold.com, darkwatersgold.com, and get it done. Jasmine Crockett. Let's take a listen to Jasmine Crockett's insane rant about DOGE. Jasmine Crockett is, I haven't figured this out yet, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe you can help me figure this out. I feel like at some point in time during the last Trump administration, the CIA rolled out or picked out some very ignorant people that they were going to roll into the Democratic Party. And I feel like Jasmine Crockett has got to be some kind of plan at this point in time, because I would tell Jasmine to sit down and shut up. This is not good for the Democratic Party. I mean, it's not. There's no way it's good for the Democratic Party. This behavior, her demeanor, her assaulting people, I mean, it's absolutely insane.
Millions of dollars to Gaza for condoms. That was a lie. So let me tell you something.
The
We were
gentlelady's
duly
time
elected,
has expired.
And it is time for
The
us
gentlelady's
to do our
time has
job
expired.
and rein in this rogue actor known
The
as
gentlelady's
Elon
time
Musk.
has expired. I now recognize the gentleman from Missouri, Mr. Burleson.
It's a lie.
You see what I'm saying? Like, this attitude, bro, it just, this ghetto-ness, quite frankly. It's just ghetto. I talked about this when you had the juxtaposition between her and a Susan Rice, right? I mean, it's almost as if she says, well, the best way for me to get attention is to be ghetto. And it's not going to work. It just, I mean, it won't work. It's actually stupid and dumb. And so I'm praying that when the debate comes for the Democratic primaries, that she's on stage. And I anticipate when we get to the primaries, God willing and the creek don't rise, I'll still be here. We're going to be highly entertained by the things that happen during these primaries. I'm talking about highly entertained. And I'm hoping that the Republican Party gets to the point to where there are deals that are made going into the primary that they are so all on the same page that they'll cut their deals prior to the primary and say, hey, this is going to be J.D. Vance that's going to go, J.D., we want to keep everybody intact. We're going to keep RFK Jr. here. We're going to keep this person here. We're going to keep this person here. We're going to keep this person here. And we're going to finish the work. Yeah, you're going to get this work, like Lotus Luck says. You're going to get this work. You're going to get this work. Oh, ain't no need to fight. No, JD up. Let's go. JD, get in there. Do what you got to do. You're going to get this work. Donald, I know you're old. You're tired. Sit back. Consult on the back end. You know what I'm saying? But y'all going to get this work. Because we're going to need at least 8 years to get rid of all this foolishness. It's going to take the first 2 years to wake up a significant portion of the Democratic Party. I mean, you'll see when we get to the midterms that the reckless craziness that's going to come out. Now, Pope Francis is alive, and I thought that them demons had drug him to hell, honestly. I don't even know how he's still alive. I had prayed that they had took him to hell because this is the evil Pope. But he's sitting there looking crazy and still doing what he do. I'm not going to say nothing else about that. I'm going to show you something that I'm very excited about, though. Exclusive, Tommy Valentine. Thousands of Christians counter satanic black mass at Kansas State Capitol. For too long, the Satanic Church of USA has been allowed to have these black masses, and no one contended with them. And this is how you know that the United States of America is now going through a revival, and it came from the hands of the Lord himself, because now people are starting to stand up to the black mass witchcraft sorcery and divination. And it has to happen this way. They should have never been allowed to just run around and do their rituals without us meeting them in the streets. Now, I ain't saying we got to go be violent, but they should have never been able to do it in the first place. And as that spiritual warfare happens, according to Ephesians, where it says you're supposed to put on your full armor and stand, right? As we stand, they got to sit their behind down. Point blank, period. Really, all you got to do is stand. When you stand up, they got to sit their behind down. That's why everything coming out of the pandemic was designed for you to not go to church. It was designed for you to sit while they stand. You understand what I'm saying? But we went through this phase, and this is going to sound deep, but I'm going to let it out anyway. See, in the Bible, it says that we are seated in heavenly places with our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And in many cases, we have to go through things before we can stand. And so in many cases, you have to sit your behind down first with him, and then you can stand. And America went through a sit-down phase where America was almost destroyed. Where America, you saw the evil rise up in every corridor of the United States of America. You saw it rising up in schools. You saw it rising up in government. You saw wars kicking off. And then the Lord said, stand. And boom, here we go. And this is something that absolutely must be done over and over and over again. Wow. I felt that as soon as they started singing. He's the Lion of Judah, let the lion roar. Wow. Whoa, it gave me the chills when I heard that one. Yep, that's him. He's there. He was there with them. And this is the stuff that has to happen, man. If we plan on dealing with the drama, we cannot let them do high ritual masses and put altars in high places in our nation. And we cannot let them enthrone their spirits at Capitol houses and at the state capitals. It just can't be done. That's what a mass is. It's the enthroning of a spirit. Can't let it happen like that, man. And I'm proud to see this going on. Very much so proud to see it going on. In fact, we're going to make a note of following all of these as they come out. You know what I'm saying? ICE has nearly 50,000 illegal migrants in detention. Awesome. Now we have this judicial coup going on against the United States of America and against the President of the United States of America. But nonetheless, at least they're arresting them. Again, I don't think America is prepared for what has to be done to truly deal with the traitors in this nation. I won't even speak about what I think needs to be done to deal with these traitors because it could be considered inciting violence. But what I will say is this. There comes a point where everyone has to see that these people are traitors. And once it's revealed that they're traitors, in my opinion, that's already been done. But nonetheless, something has to be done about it. Something has to be done about the judges who we know got Soros funding, and it's how they were elected. We know that we have DOGE, which can trace that money back. And I'm a betting man, and I'm willing to bet that they know and have everything on everybody as of right now. And I truly believe that the revelation that came out last week about the Epstein documents going to FBI offices spread out all around the United States was a twofold thing. I think number one, it was designed to spread the workload out and get arrests on people throughout all of the states where it's going on. And then number two, most importantly, I think it's going to lead to a lot of these judges. And I'll add a third point. And I think the third point in doing it is You see, you're going to be able to tell who's who when this information comes out. Because some people are going to move on information, other people won't move on it. So you're going to know who's dirty. You know what I'm saying? You're going to know who's dirty relatively quickly. But it's a great thing that 50,000 illegal migrants have been in detention. We just need to deal with the judicial system to where we can get them out of our nation. Federal data shows that immigration and custom enforcement has nearly 50,000 detainees as President Trump's policy of mass deportation of criminal illegals continue. And it is 10,000 more than Joe Biden's high of nearly 40,000 detentions. Federal data shows that the detentions has reached 47,892 detainees as of March 23rd. Numbers exceeds 39,703 reached during Biden years. It isn't yet as high as the 60,000 reached during Trump's first term, but it seems clear that the record will be broken. Yeah, I mean, we're talking about January, February, March, and he's got 40,000 people detained at that rate, literally at that rate. We're talking about 160,000 people being detained. That doesn't even account the people who just picked up and said, hey, I'm leaving. They're like, I'm leaving. Don't make no sense to stick around here. I'm done. I don't want nothing to do with it. So that's a great thing. And guys, I like to cover a lot of news. I want to cover something else. Weekend 2 delivers even more box office humiliation for Snow White. This concept and idea of wokeism in movies and them just consistently beating their heads against the wall to use and produce and spew woke propaganda, I honestly tell you, it's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. But it's one of those cases where you kind of got to let people do what they're going to do. You want to be stupid and you want to promote wokeism and you want to have wokeism as the promote your religion. We don't have to participate in your woke religion. We don't have to subsidize your woke religion. And this is what you're seeing when it comes to the box office and a lot of other things. They're not going to prosper. They're not going to succeed. It's not going to work. And if you noticed, I'm not sure if you have, there's a lot more Christian Bible-based TV shows coming out. It started with Chosen, which is one of my favorite shows, by the way. I haven't been able to watch this next part because we're getting to the part close to the crucifixion, and that is rough for me. I will watch it one day, but I'm not ready to watch that right now. The last time I saw one of those, which was Mel Gibson's movie, it was too much for me. But this woke vision for America, this woke ideology that they're spewing in movies and entertainment is being rejected. And we knew it was going to be rejected because every last one of their idols, as in humans, was rejected during the election. So Hollywood died during the election. When they brought them all out, they brought everybody out, all of them. Everybody came out to endorse Kamala Harris, and she lost miserably. That's when Hollywood died. Now what we're seeing is we're seeing the burial ceremony of Hollywood. And they just won't get it. They just don't seem to get it. They will, though. There's going to have to be a rebirth of Hollywood if they plan on being successful. And if you know the history of Hollywood and the CIA, the minute the Smith-Mont Act is reestablished, you're going to see that all this stuff goes away. It all goes away. Because the only reason why it's been done this way is because it's propaganda. And it's the American people being propagandized. The minute that goes away, you start to get quality entertainment again. But it has to go. It has to go. And I don't even understand why Donald Trump hasn't dealt with that yet. Maybe he will in the near future. But I don't understand why he hasn't dealt with it yet. I want to show something to some of the liberal women, white women here, and liberal women in general. I don't necessarily know if they understand these things.
Female slaves.
But it's important that we get it. There's a reason why Pete Hegseth is under attack. And it's beyond his tattoo, his Kadif tattoo on his bicep. although I think that's the center of it. There was a program, there was a plan designed to where American men would be weakened. Now, biblically, a nation in the Bible is based on the number of men, not men, women, and children. A nation is based upon the number of fighting age men. That is what a nation is defined as in the Bible. All right? So to overthrow the United States of America as a nation in a spiritual context, with whether you believe it or not, everything is spiritual, you flood that nation with another nation of men. That's why at the border, what you saw was all military age men coming into the United States of America. Because in order to actually take over a nation, you have to bring in a nation of men. So what was happening under Joe Biden was, they call it, population replacement or whatever, replacement migration. No. It was a nation invading America. One of the nations that invaded America, this is their philosophy. And I want to thank God himself that somewhere in our government, there was a group of men. I don't know why this dude keep calling me. Somewhere in our government, there was a group of men that had been sitting on the sideline. Clearly, they've been sitting, waiting, and watching. In their job, they were watchmen on the walls. I don't know their names. I don't know who you are, but thank you. I know you got access to everybody's internet feed. That's clear. But I personally want to tell you, thank you for being watchmen on the walls. Because without you, the destiny of America would have been destroyed.
Female slaves as having a secondary status, even below this, and that their consent did not matter in this relationship. They were fully owned, and the master had the right to all of the woman. In essence, generally in classical Islamic thought, it is taken for granted that a Muslim man can have up to 4 wives at once. And in addition to the 4 wives, he can have an unlimited number of concubines, which refer to women who are basically have slave status. When they are owned by her master, a woman owned by her master has to freely give of herself to the master. The master has the right to have sexual relations with her as though she were one of his wives. The believers are those who guard their private parts except from their wives and what their right hands possess. But curiously enough, while this is often interpreted to mean that a man could have sexual relations with his female slaves, it is never interpreted to mean that a woman could have sexual relations with her male slaves.
And I want you to understand, this is the philosophy. Now, what's missing is, how do you become a slave? Ladies, how do you become a slave? Are slaves bought and sold? Are slaves the booty of war? Are slaves the women that are taken in war? During an invasion of a nation like Europe, France, some one of those places, Italy, you wonder why there's these sexual assaults that go on. This is the philosophy that came with that nation of men that you allowed inside of your border. Remember, ain't no women coming. It's majority men. This is the philosophy that you imported into your nation. And what's disgusting about it, I mean, truly disgusting about it, is it's weak men in high places that allow this to happen to the daughters of their nation. And then when strong men like Pete Hegseth step up, and Donald Trump, it's like, oh my God, they're the devil, they're so evil. But it's the craziest part is it's all liberal white women, majority liberal white women, who defend the invaders, not really realizing that when the full invasion happens, you gonna be the slave. You wanna know how I know? Know how. Because the average conservative broad running around here with a pistol in her purse. She up in that thing. Bop, 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 bop. I don't believe in guns. Violence is bad, and I don't want a gun in my house. Oh, the gun, don't put that gun in my house. The gun will kill us. Oh my goodness, no guns. Oh, don't steal my Tesla. No. Yeah, they gonna get you. And the craziest thing is the feminism that led to it, that led to you being in and having this false sense of power, weakened the man of your household. And the Bible says, no man can come into a man's house and take his goods except for he tied the strong man. You ain't have a damn strong man in your house. You won't even let him be a strong man. Man, look. Guys, I'll be back on another video. This is why I don't be like going this far. Because I be getting pissed to the highest point of pisstivity.